Dear Santa, my name is Ivy.
Nick.
Gwendolyn.
Bianca.
Chris.
For our creative writing final, our teacher instructed us to write you a letter explaining our favorite Christmas memory, along with the moment we realized you weren't real.
He assured us that he'll be the only one reading them, so we can be as open as we want.
As a tradition of sorts, my family would play in the snow and sled on Christmas night. Then we'd go back into the house and sit by the fire to roast marshmallows while drinking hot chocolate.
I used to watch my sister snowboard and always wanted to give it a try. Walking downstairs on Christmas morning, I was so fucking happy. Oh shit, sorry. I was so happy to see a snowboard beside the tree for me. Later that afternoon, we went outside and she started teaching me.
In recent years, I started spending Christmases with my friends. They know I love music and trying new instruments, so last year they all chipped in and got me my own guitar.
When I was 6, my cousins came to spend Christmas with us. One of them loves to dance, so I got her a necklace of a ballerina. I was thrilled to see how happy she was when she opened her gift.
We had this book mixed with Christmas stories and sheet music for carols. My favorites were those that had to do with the Nutcracker. I'd sit and listen as my mother played Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy on her piano before reading us the abridged version of the story.
In retrospect, how I found out Santa wasn't real was pretty funny. See, it all goes back to the Tooth Fairy. Instead of a simple coin or a dollar, she started to give me presents. I put 2 and 2 together and realized that it was my parents. I told my dad that I knew she wasn't real. Then he was like, "That's great. Also, Santa isn't real either."
When I was 4, I heard noises downstairs. Expecting to see Santa, I saw my mom and dad putting presents beside the fireplace instead. I was heartbroken. But then I realized that if I kept pretending he was real, I could keep getting presents.
When I was 10, I started developing feelings for a girl in my class and I didn't really know what to do. I wrote a letter to Santa asking for her to be understanding and to like me back. A few days later, my parents dropped me off at conversion therapy. I realized that they read my letter and it didn't take long for the rest of the pieces to come together.
They tried to hide it, but my parents had been fighting for a long time. Shortly after Thanksgiving, they told me that they were thinking about spending some time apart. I didn't want to lose my parents, so that year I basically asked Santa to keep them from getting divorced. Sometime later, I heard my dad crying in his bedroom. Peeking around the door, I saw him sitting on the edge of the bed holding my letter.
Mom and Dad always believed that children should be treated like adults. So when my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, they sat me down and told me what happened. I didn't want to lose my mom, so I wrote a letter to Santa asking him to help her get better. To my surprise, he wrote back. He said he couldn't fix everything and didn't know if he could help her. And I guess I was inspired by the response because day after day for the next 2 weeks I wrote letters. But Santa never replied. And the letters piled up in our mailbox. And I kept holding on to hope until my mom passed away.
People usually figure this stuff, out in their own time. But it was nice believing in him before my dad ruined everything for me.
Christmas was difficult for a long time. My family's gotten to a place where we can celebrate. But it's bittersweet to say the least. I don't discount the joy Santa brings to people, but every time I think of him, I also think of my misplaced hope in someone who wasn't even there. Still, I have people who I can depend upon, and that's what counts. Merry Christmas, sincerely.
Bianca.
Gwendolyn.
Chris.
Nick.
Ivy.